Hi, I'm going to talk about what I learned in 313 and about each of the research parts that I did for this project. That includes field studies, interviews, and survey, and then a final report as well. So moving on. So each of my portions of the class will be structured like this in the presentation, where they have a good section, a bad section, and then a section for extra thoughts and notes on it. So I started off my field research at Uwajimaya, which is a foreign food store downtown in the International District, and I observed what people bought and how they interacted with the items on the shelves and such. If they did anything cool, I asked them about why they did what they did in a short contextual inquiry. Moving on to the benefits of this field study, I learned about what goes on in the store and what people buy without having to set up any interviews, and got a bunch of free context and clues into the questions that I was trying to answer, as well as there were many subjects to talk to and watch. And I got a relatively narrow user base of first-generation immigrants. The bad parts about this were there was a limited user base, so kind of only people that actually went to the store to shop. It didn't give me much insight as to why they bought those items, and I didn't really know what to look for, and I also didn't take notes, which was probably a bad idea. It was At the beginning, it was hard to talk to strangers and kind of ask them about what they were doing, but as I talked to more people, it became a lot easier and almost enjoyable as well, because I really got to hear about the thoughts that people had behind shopping and what they go through. Next came the interviews. Those were with three around 30-year-old women that were all first-generation immigrants. I determined this was the correct user base to talk to, dependent on my field research, which I had done before. These people were the most likely to shop for foreign foods. The good part about the interview was that I got a really in-depth view into the user base and what goes on in their heads. People gave really detailed answers, and it elicits kind of more genuine responses from people than surveys do or something, because it's an actual face-to-face conversation, so it's harder for them to make something up. So the bad part about the interviews was that I had a really limited user base due to my selection criteria, not enough time for follow-ups, and I needed more time to plan out the interviews. I really liked talking to these people, but my project wasn't really developed yet, so I didn't know exactly what to ask them. And one interview was on the phone due to scheduling time issues, so that didn't work well. Next came the surveys, which I was pretty excited for, because I like analyzing data and seeing trends in kind of what people like to do. So this survey was sent out to everyone, and it didn't have any restrictions, so I could get kind of a view of the whole population. The good stuff about the surveys was that I got a broad range of users, good general data about the population, and it was really easy to make, so that was nice. I made it on Google Forms, by the way. As for the bad stuff, it was hard to come up with questions. There was no opportunity for follow-up questions. The users put in a lack of detail, and it was really hard to get enough responses from people, because nobody really wants to take any surveys. All in all, I got 13 responses to my form, which was alright, but it was really fun to analyze the data and actually see correlations between different variables and questions that I had set up. Moving on to the final paper, where I synthesized all my previous research into one cohesive document explaining my findings and design implications. The good stuff about the final paper was that I learned to synthesize my data from the 3 research projects. I supported my theories with strong evidence, and then I developed design implications based on actual things that I found in my research. And it helped me clean up the purpose and summary of my project. The problems I had with this paper were that I didn't start out with a great topic initially for this whole class and project, so I didn't have great evidence that really stuck together well, but I was able to put it all together in the end. What I learned from my final paper is that preparing for each of your research projects is really important, and it's the big key. If you're not prepared and don't have the right questions, then you won't find good data that you can then put together into an essay at the end. Overall, I really enjoyed doing this project and doing all this research because I found a bunch of things out, but one thing that I wish I'd done was just to kind of have a good topic and really a solid thing to research, because I didn't really know what I was looking for in the beginning, and that made it hard in the end. Here are my sources for the images that I used in this presentation. Thanks for watching.